So as we started to get more business, we actually went from, I think it was 2 million to 4 million over the last few years. Marketing is the key to it. The SEO portion of our business we've determined is the biggest bang for the buck. And you've kind of steered us into a series of priorities. Before you go through 5 or 6 or 7 different companies trying to find one, I'd suggest having a conversation with Alex and the team over at HVAC Marketers. I believe that you'll be very pleased. We're trying to get more traction with our dollars than we were getting in the past. In the past, it seemed like I would just keep throwing money at the problem or the marketing effort without strategically tracking it and figuring out what's working. I've got a lot more of a picture of what's working now, and I have a lot closer interaction with the company, which is you, than I have with any other company. I know it's kind of vague only from the standpoint that I don't really understand as much of the technical details of what you do from the marketing perspective. I'm working on my business, so I need phone calls per se, right? That's really what's improved.
I love it. That's perfect. So kind of staying in that line then, what specific results have you seen since working with us?
Well, the specific results that we've gotten since working with HVAC Marketers, we've increased the size of our business. And I know that you can't specifically attribute everything to one aspect of your business because your business has multiple moving parts. But you have, if you have folders in your business, I got a folder, it's called marketing. I got a folder, it's called recruiting. I got a folder, it's called operations, right? But the marketing side is the leading edge, right? It's the tip of the spear. So you got to get that working, and then it funnels down through to make the rest of our business work. And so as we started to get more business, we actually went from, I think it was 2 million to 4 million over the last few years. And so in that time, I could tell you a whole lot of things that happened. One of the major things was we were able to get more business because we got to keep the people busy that we're hiring.
Can you quantify the impact of working together? And you mentioned revenue, call volume, lead consistency, flexibility. Like you can go any direction that you want with it, but how would you quantify the impact of us working together?
Well, the impact of us working together, that gets a little bit more ambiguous for me to pin it down to a specific thing. The SEO portion of our business we've determined is like the biggest bang for the buck. And you've kind of steered us into a series of priorities. So whereas it's SEO or LSA followed by PPC and then direct mail. And so we have multiple different channels for our marketing, but we're working with you. You helped us to prioritize what we need to do first, second, because you have a limited budget. I mean, people always have a limited budget, whether you're working on a 3% or 10% of gross budget, that's limited. And so you don't want to put money into a black hole. So you need help prioritizing. And that's what you guys have helped us with.
What part of our work together has made the biggest difference for you?
I think I had mentioned it. One of the biggest differences in working with HVAC Marketers with you, Alex, has been the interaction. I'm a communication person. So it really doesn't work well for me if I'm trying to develop something and I work with a large company and they put me on autopilot and I'm just getting leads and I don't feel like I can interact with the process. So working with you has been very enjoyable for me because I can send a message, we can talk about it, we have a monthly meeting, and then I feel like I'm interacting, I'm part of the process, not just hiring an outside source and then I'm not involved. Being a communicator, that has been huge for me.
How has this positively affected your business?
How has this positively affected our business? Well, everybody has different reasons for growth. And so we're looking at transitioning our business to another generation. Part of our goal in growing our business is to develop a staff that is going to be able to carry this thing through a transition. And so being too small was not going to work with that because mom and pop are going to have to be there. But as we grow the business and develop a staff, now that thing can become, mom and pop can move more toward the fringes of the business and pass this thing on to another generation. I think that's kind of been one of our goals. So marketing's the key to it.
That's awesome. I love that. So many of our clients are the similar way. So I'll stay on top. All right. Last question, Mark. Thanks so much. What would you say to someone that's on the fence about working with HVAC marketers?
What would I say to somebody who's on the fence about working with you guys? I would say jump in, because anybody who's looking at choosing a marketing company knows, if they've done any work in this area, knows exactly what I'm talking about. There's a myriad of people. The HVAC business is a lucrative business, and as a business owner in this industry, you're getting marketed to by everybody. They're calling you up. They think you're the bank. Everybody's looking to tap in, sign up, and get on board. But I think that before you go through 5 or 6 or 7 different companies trying to find one, I'd suggest having a conversation with Alex and the team over at HVAC Marketers. I believe that you'll be very pleased with what they can do.